The Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has determined that this action is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. And be it further enacted that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on November 20, 2014, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on November 24, 2014. And be it further enacted that said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. I think everybody got a memo from the Recreation Director.
Yes.
Do we address this, his concerns here?
We can address it. I would suggest at a later date. I think most of those
Same
fees
things.
are already in place.
I was,
I don't think, do we want to hold it up for those?
no, I spoke
So
to,
we'll do it before the summertime? Because it's
No.
all about swimming.
Although,
Yeah.
the swimming, the pool we talked about, and it's in here, and we decided to leave it in case we
Okay.
pool again. And the other fees, they're already in place. They're just not in the fee schedules. But yeah, it's something we can take up, definitely.
Would it be a significant change if we added them now? Probably not, right?
Don't know. Not a question for me. It's for the legal counsel.
Probably not, right?
I think you want
And the fee,
listen.
They don't
you-
in there now.
Devon,
Did you see this memo?
you know why we're doing these fees.
All right, yeah, let's leave it as is and go.
because now I was talking to Neil about this before, and he was saying that we were gonna circulate the fee schedule to all the departments, so we could then, in the spring, change
And
it.
just so everyone's aware, and so there's no misconceptions about the fee schedule, I'll go on record now as saying will be opposed to any new fees, any increased fees. I think town residents are paying enough in fees, just to get that out. So, let's not go crazy with fees and, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, when the changes that you have before you are ones that were primarily result of conversations I had with the building department, but they primarily reflect ones for the departments that report to me. I did not circulate them around to the other departments,
Right.
but there were some fees in there. I thought it was kind of critical to get them done sooner rather than later, like the clarification of the recreation fees in particular. But I did talk to the supervisor, and this was probably a couple of weeks ago, and suggested that let's get these done, and then we can circulate them to the other departments. There are some fees in there that I look at, I don't know what they are. They have nothing to do with any of my departments.
Yeah, I think we might want to eliminate
We have some we may
Yeah.
want to eliminate.
It's just old.
But we can clean that up going forward. And I have not seen Tom's memorandum on the rec fees, but we can take care of that going forward too as well.
Yeah.
His are simple. It's the pool
Yep.
and renting the senior civic.
But I think.
Yeah, but there's others.
Let's do what I have to
Yeah, but I
tonight
think
and
that
deal
there
with
may
the rest
be
of it another
others
time.
that we ought to be taking a look at, but the other departments need to look at those as well.
I
So
would
we'll-
get this fee schedule
Yeah,
done.
I'm happy to circulate them
I think the time
around
to address
and- yeah.
any issues with rec, and I agree with you,
Right.
or other departments would be at a later date. Let's get this done and get this closed out.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, that brings us to the end of our public hearing. So what I'm going to do is run through the agenda items very quickly for those of you who don't have an agenda in front of you, and then we'll take questions just on agenda items, all right? Number 2, we have a public information session about a individual alternative residential home that's going to be at 17 Myron Drive. We have some representatives from New Horizons here tonight to tell us about the home and some details concerning that. 3 is to authorize supervisor to sign a Peach Hill amendment to the Peach Hill agreement. 4 is to authorize supervisor to sign all space stormwater agreement easement. 5 is to promote an employee in our auto center, Brian Porter. 6 is to modify the 2014 budget to reflect changes based on the CSEA and PBA contracts that were signed within the last few months. 7 is to authorize supervisor to sign street lighting authority order for Nassau Road. 8 is to authorize supervisor to sign a county agreement regarding snow plowing. The town will be plowing some county roads that we drive over anyway and usually have been lifting our plows, but now we're going to plow them and the county will reimburse us for time and, manpower and salt for those roads. 9 is a notification of claims that we're going to refer to legal. 10 is notification of a liquor license, Mole Mole. 11 is authorized supervisor to sign our Section 8 indemnification agreement with the city of Poughkeepsie. And then we have 2 special consents. 1 is the appointment of a part-time recreation assistant for our senior center, and 2 is notification of a liquor license for a pizzeria. So I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on agenda items.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here with a question about any of the agenda items? Seeing no one, I make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have our public information session for the proposed individual alternative residential home at 17 Myron Drive. I'd like to ask what I thought we'll do first is we'll have the representatives from New Horizons come up, give us an idea of what they're planning, and some details about the home, and then we'll give I know there's a number of audience members from the neighborhood, give them an opportunity to ask any questions. Okay? Sure.
New Horizons is an agency that serves individuals with developmental disabilities, and we're proposing a home on 17 Myron Drive to support 5 young adults, that are in school now, and they're graduating from school. There are young adults that lived in our communities and are coming home.
So Andrea, speak right,
into
have the
it.
mic
Okay,
as close
can you
to, yeah. Now the young adults are going to school, give us some, where, locally?
They're graduating from school, so they're going to come back in the home. In this home, what they'll do is they will go to, they will get some help from us in terms of, bathing and daily living skills, and they'll participate in different activities in our community here. They're 21 or older, so they're out of school, so they'll go to different community activities within Dutchess County.
And how are they transported?
By New Horizons.
Your staff
Yes,
or
by our
van?
staff.
What's the staff to resident ratio?
The staff to residents ratio is a minimum of 3 staff for the 5 individuals,
Okay, 24 hours a day?
24 hours a day. Overnight, there'd be 2 staff, but when they're awake, 3 staff at all times. Overnight, 2.
And developmentally disabled, it's strictly developmentally disabled. Your organization doesn't deal with alcohol or drug rehab, correct? And there's
No.
no one with any criminal records would be
None
residing in the house?
whatsoever.
Okay. And the staffing, you do background checks as far as criminal records and I'm presuming all the other records in New York, checks that New York State requires for anyone working in that type of capacity?
Very thorough background checks on all employees.
And how many homes do you currently have townwide?
In the town, we currently have 5. We have 19 homes within Dutchess County, and 5 of them are in town of Poughkeepsie.
Okay, and I know one is on the street I live, Round Hill Road. I think that's been there, maybe 5 years. So I can speak from experience of having one of your homes in my neighborhood. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Andrea.
Okay.
Last name is Pollack, Pollack.
Thanks.
Sure.
What's the criteria that you guys look for as far as locating a home and selecting a home?
The criteria is suitability of home for the people that we can support. And this home has 4 bedrooms on the first floor, so it really suits that. Affordability, that can be affordability. What can be for renovations? I think we've looked at many homes. We've looked at 40, 50 homes before we found this home, prior to this home.
The last time, I believe it was last time you guys were here, I had raised a question as to, we have a number of homes within the town, I think the list is up to over 100, that are either vacant or have been foreclosed on. And I had asked if it's possible next time that you guys had come to look in the area that you look at some of these, because I know you guys are not for profit, correct? So the house would be
Correct.
off the tax rolls. There's houses in our town and in our neighborhoods that are in distress and a mess, and the banks have taken them over and done nothing to keep them in good repair. People have walked away from them. And one of the things that I hoped was that, with this program, it could be more of a win-win if you guys looked at those, and I don't know if maybe you did, but if those were houses that you looked at, because if you were to buy one of those homes, those are being probably offered and sold at significant discounts over what the market rate is these days. Fixing up one of those houses and putting it back in good repair and maintaining it would be a really big positive for the town of Poughkeepsie and the surrounding neighborhood. So did you look at those? Did you make an effort to try to see if that was feasible in this case?
We look at all homes, and we do take that into consideration. Sometimes those homes that you are referring to, while it might be a good lower price, given the renovations, it might exceed what we can afford to fixing them up. So, but we do look at them. We have, and if they can work, and we would certainly consider that. We saw several of them. I can't say they were specifically in the town of Poughkeepsie in this search, and nothing was suitable. But yes,
Yeah.
we consider them.
We have a list, and I was able to get it within, a day. We could probably get it even faster than that, but we have a list of these houses because the town actually pays to maintain a pretty good percentage of them at this point. So I just think it would be helpful to look at those first, because of the fact that you're using, I think you're using state funds or federal funds, and it's a tax exempt entity, and it would be nice to see that money going to something that would have a direct improvement on the neighborhood. And, whether people like the idea of the house in the neighborhood or don't like the idea of the house in the neighborhood, I think if these houses that we have on this list were houses that you looked at first and tried to work through before you looked at other houses, it would be a really good thing, because we need the town of Poughkeepsie and other municipalities. I think the city has over 300 that are vacant.
Oh, yeah.
The municipalities in the area and in the county need some help there. So if it's taxpayer dollars going into this program, I think it would make a big difference if they were going to properties where you'd say, we took this, it was a problem, we cleaned it up, and our good neighbors going forward. And I think that would probably make it for an easier, smoother transition into the neighborhoods.
Andrea, has New Horizons ever sold any of these homes that they've purchased in the neighborhoods? Once you've had them,
No.
you usually buy them and keep them long-term?
Exactly. They're for the people that will move in there, will stay for as long as they can. It's their home. So no, we have no intent in selling them, and we haven't sold houses that we've used for this purpose.
Yeah, that's also part of the philosophy now of the state of New York, to make these more like a home setting. That the number of people being kept in these homes are smaller, because you only have 5, and the house in my neighborhood has 6 in it. So they're definitely smaller, so it's more like a family setting.
And, as I stated, this informational session, by law, the town isn't required to have this. We've always chosen to have these informational sessions for the benefit of the residents, to give you as much information as we can. The letters we sent out, we did a 500-foot radius around this property, which I think we captured 65 adjacent properties. Again, that was something we wanted to do, to be proactive and try to give you as much information as we could in the areas around this home. There's no rules that, say we have to do 200 or 500 or 700, but we wanted to try to capture as many of you as we could. So at this point, if anyone in the audience has any questions.
I have a couple more questions. As far as the houses that you guys have there been any police calls or any?
No.
No. Okay.
And I checked with the police department today. I spoke to our community police officer, and
And the
Would
resident,
agree.
what type of screening do you do as far as the residents that you place into those homes, as far as making sure that they're able to, they got to live somewhat independently, and they also have to be able to live in a neighborhood environment. What do you do as far as the screening to make sure that they're the proper fit for a neighborhood setting?
Well, through the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities, we know which people are in need of homes, and we have clinical staff, administrative staff that goes out to meet the individuals, and then what we will do is we'll look for a good mix of 5 individuals that have complementary personality or skills, and try to and make them fit as we would a family.
And if for some reason you set up that household and the personalities don't mix, do you relocate the resident to other households if that becomes an issue?
On occasion, if somebody chooses to live in another residence, or, that could occur, but we don't, that's rare. On occasion, sometimes there's not a fit and somebody likes to they want to live in the country and they're living in the city, or in the town. We might look to relocate them, but by and large, that doesn't happen that often.
And what about the staffing? How often do they change shifts? Are they working, is it 2 12-hour shifts? Are they working, how often do you have staff coming and going?
It's typically an 8-hour shift.
Okay.
Typically, it would be 8-hour shift, 10-hour shift on occasion.
Okay, so you'd have 2 or 3 shift changes, staff changes, okay. And the programs you said, as far as they'd be involved in the community, are those programs run through your organizations or similar organizations, or is it kind of community-based programs that,
Some are
state,
through
county,
our
or-
organizations, some through other organizations in the community.
And are these individuals working during the day, or?
Not working during the day, no.
Okay.
Anything else from the
I don't just want to see if anybody from the audience has
Sure.
questions.
Anybody in the audience? Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Do you want
Just
me
come
to
on
speak?
up, speak in the microphone.
Okay, this is the first time I'm ever doing
Sure,
this.
no
I
problem.
live at 21 Myron Drive, so
Okay.
I'm 2 houses away from this particular home.
Sure.
And I really do appreciate that you asked some extremely pertinent and pointed questions, because these actually encompass some of the things that have concerned me since I got this flyer. Because I live 2 houses away, I happen to be at the end of the town of Poughkeepsie conduit that runs right down Myron Drive.
Okay.
That particular house is very close to the conduit. I don't know if anyone's taken a look at what's behind that house, but there seems to be some sort of retaining wall. That particular house is made on various levels. There are many different stairways to that house, and also to the back, to the conduit. So my question is why this particular home was considered to be an appropriate place for people who apparently need a lot of assistance in managing, their mobility, and also how they get around during the day. I happen to be a social worker for many, many decades, and I can tell you that if you're going to have 2 staff at night in a home, that particular house, again, because of where I live, I know exactly where it's placed. It happens to be right directly opposite to Manor Way. Manor Way is a no-exit street. If there's anything that happens at night, that means that the residents in Manor Way are going to have a very difficult time trying to access getting out of their street. This has always been a residential street. There are a lot of children on the street. In fact, Spackenkill basically doesn't exist except for the school district, and that's really basically, why people have bought homes there. So, there are many questions. I was concerned to hear that the house is going to be taken off the tax roll. I think we need the house on the tax roll. I thought your idea about looking at properties that, have been foreclosed on and need renovation would be an excellent project for people to work on. It probably would lower the cost, ultimately for that particular agency. But that particular house, is potentially going to provide a lot of problems, because if anything happens at night, we're going to have a lot of vehicles, a lot of potential lights, noise. It's not going to be the house for this situation.
Can you give us an idea
Well,
of
I
the
can't-
criteria used?
We do in terms of the house being suitable, we do a preliminary architectural feasibility to see if it is suitable for the people that are there, and it is. So I understand. So the levels or whatever you're referring to is not an issue. As I said, inside the house is suitable in terms of activity during the night. No different than yours. People are going to be sleeping. It's not going to be lots of activity or interfere with Manor Way traffic at all.
And I think what she is probably referring to, do you have at your homes, do you experience a lot of emergency vehicles, a lot of need for emergency calls?
No.
I know the one
No
on Round
more,
Hill,
no.
I haven't noticed anything odd in the house. New Horizons home's basically behind mine. They're, I think, at 47, I'm at 68.
No. We don't, and we don't anticipate anything of that nature.
And what happens if this does occur? What is the recourse for the residents of this?
If which does occur.
If we start seeing a lot of activity at night and a lot of vehicles and noise and lights?
I would, what we've said in the past with, I remember when it wasn't New Horizons, but a residential community was established in an area in town. It was on a cul-de-sac. This home was on a cul-de-sac. The residents there voiced some of the same concerns you just did. And basically, we've told those residents and told town residents in general, if you have concerns during the night about traffic, about speeding, about any of those type of things, you should call the police department. They will intervene, and they will notify my office, town hall, and we'll notify New Horizons. And that's kind of been our standard. And once or twice, I guess, in all the years that we've had these type of residential homes in the town, once in a blue moon, a staff member needs to be reminded that, of a speed limit or something like that, but probably nothing out of the ordinary in terms of just your other neighbors and my neighbors, So if you notice a problem, or if any of the residents notice a problem, I would say call the police department. They will take the appropriate action, and we'll notify town hall.
Okay. I just want to make one other comment. After the rains that occurred a couple of years ago, we got a notification that we had to buy flood insurance. We had no idea we were in a flood insurance, area. So now we have flood insurance. But I don't know if that particular house is in that particular situation also. But I haven't heard anything about that coverage.
Yeah, that's FEMA, and I don't know that either. They would know, New Horizons, if they do end up closing on the house and purchasing it, they're going to have to meet whatever insurance requirements I think anybody else would. And those are FEMA regulations. And I know when FEMA redrew the maps and set the new guidelines in place, a number of residents experienced the same problem you did.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Driscoll.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to, in advance, apologize for any slurred words or mispronouncing of anybody's name here. I'm very nervous at the moment.
Quite all right.
And I want to make sure that you understand my situation here. A number of the questions that were brought up prior to me coming here, I probably will repeat them and ask them again. And excuse me for that. My first question is, there's my understanding there's a certain time limit that we have to make a decision, and it's, I understand, around a 40-day or something like that, a window before action takes, before the house is actually purchased and being used for a home. My bottom line question on this subject is when is that when is the deadline for us to?
The town has no action to take on this. We're having this informational meeting as a courtesy to the residents. we have very limited recourse in terms of our reaction to New Horizons buying this home. I think the 40-day window, and Adrian or Andrew, correct me, but that's a time frame to have an informational meeting, and if we wanted to, based on the criteria that's in the law, object, and it's very limited criteria, it would be within those 40 days. Is that, am I understanding that
I
properly?
believe so, and that's for
That's
legal.
correct. That's correct.
So do we have a date?
I don't know what the date is.
Well, can we,
I
eventually, can we find out what that
Sure.
date is?
Yeah.
So us people in the community can know that this is it and.
Well, I would
this is the deadline?
pretty much tell you this is it. The town, criteria the town has is twofold. We can either object based on saturation in the neighborhood, which would mean the neighborhood's gonna, because of this home coming in, is gonna face a material or substantial change in the character of your neighborhood. It's a very hard burden to prove. The second criteria would be we have to try to find within the town a comparable home that it meets all the criteria that New Horizons has for this home. Recommend that home to them and have them accept that home as an alternative. Those are as far as I know, the only two criteria the town has in this scenario, this case.
So we really, so I really don't, I don't have an answer of what what our window is here and making a decision of.
What I'm trying to tell you is I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think there's a window for a decision. The town, at this point, based on the communication of the town board and our legal counsel, we're not going to make either one of those suggestions. Either there's no saturation in the neighborhood, we wouldn't be able to prove it because there isn't one, and two, we don't have comparable homes in another area of town to recommend to New Horizons, so we're not going to go that route. So what we're going to do tonight is have this informational session, hopefully answer as many questions as the residents have. If other questions come up during the week, you can call into the office and I will contact New Horizons and get them answered. But beyond that, there's not a lot of decision-making that we have at this point. And I will add, and our legal counsel can jump in if she would like at any time, if she thinks I'm getting off course, but when the state changed the laws and changed kind of the rules to have these individuals move from institutions into neighborhoods, they knew there would be concern and any neighborhood, and we've seen it, the members on the town board that have been here for a number of years, each time a home is established in a neighborhood, whether it's Martin Drive or Spy Hill or Round Hill or wherever it is, the concerns are always the same. And there are legitimate concerns and legitimate questions, but the state put laws in place so that it's virtually impossible for the municipality to say, no, you're not going to do this, because they think it's what's best for the residents, and they knew the concerns would be there. And as elected officials, we innately want to please the people we serve. So I think the rules were put in place, and I don't know if anyone would disagree, but the state knew what they were doing when they did this, and they made it, very difficult for the municipality to object on, legal grounds. If you have questions, though, now's the time to ask them.
It's very difficult to appreciate what you just said to us. As a person of the community, I was hoping that the town board here would at least give me give me the appreciation of listening to my comments and hoping that maybe there's a possible way that we can change what's going to happen.
What I always try, and you're at the microphone and your comments, you have as much time as you want for your questions. What I try to do when I speak to residents, be honest. I don't want to mislead you. I don't want to give you the impression that something might happen, and it'd be easy for me to say, oh, absolutely, I'll give you what you want, and we'll go down this road and we'll spend tax dollars, going in a direction that just makes no sense. What I'm trying to do is just be frank and as honest as I can, but, you certainly have an opportunity to voice your concerns, to ask your questions. Now's the time to do it. I'm just trying to give you an honest answer to the question you asked me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not done yet, though.
Okay, no problem.
How soon can I, this is an offbeat question, how soon can I have a copy of this, of what that was said at this meeting here?
Call tomorrow. It shouldn't take long. Usually we have it on the website
You have
almost
a computer, sir?
Does it go on the website?
It's on a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You can watch the whole thing by tomorrow afternoon, usually.
Yeah.
On YouTube?
Well, it's right on our website. It links it right to it, each meeting.
Oh, it's on the,
The website, thetownofpoughkeepsie.com.
The Town of Poughkeepsie website?
If you go to townofpoughkeepsie.com, click meetings,
Click meetings?
scroll down, and there's
It's
a
available
YouTube.
almost immediately.
Oh, very good, very good. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Moving right along here. Let me see, is there a guide, how many homes are in, is there, I'm not sure of the actual, when I hear this saturation and so forth, when we talk of that, what size of the community are we talking about? Or are we referring to? Is it a mile circumference, or is it X amount of blocks from here to there, or what? Is it a certain? Are we broken down into wards in reference to having a home come in?
I
I
don't.
think it's illegal.
It's just that it has to be, the character of the neighborhood would be substantially
I'm sorry, I
altered.
can't hear you.
Pull that microphone
The character of the
closer.
neighborhood would be substantially altered. So the statute doesn't
What-
say it's
what
got
is
to be a
neighbor-
certain
yeah,
number of
I'm
miles
trying to be
or.
very definitive here. What is a neighborhood? You know,
Right,
you
it
know, a
does not,
neighborhood could be, you know, the whole
I think
ward
you-
of
I think you-
Poughkeepsie, a
I think you
particular
s-
ward.
I think you start to get into a subjective criteria where saturation, 5 houses on one street probably would be saturation. 5 houses in the town of Poughkeepsie, not saturation. 5 houses in Hagentown might start to get there. So I think it gets looked at on a case-by-case basis. That would be what the way I would look at that.
Okay.
The way you define saturation. So what we have seen in the past, and each time this comes up, we've looked at this, and what we have seen in the past is one house on a street
Yes.
doesn't get anywhere near the point of saturation. Multiple houses on a street or in the neighborhood, maybe, but we don't have that situation that exists anywhere in the town of Poughkeepsie at this
Does
point.
Horizon have any input on that question?
We consider that when we look for a house.
Consider what?
We consider it's not we consider the saturation question because it does come up, and, you know, as was stated, 2 houses on a street would not be something we would look for. So, but it is.
All right, so there's
really
no
illegal.
there's no definitive answer in reference to the way I'm asking you, that there's
I
a
don't
mile
think so.
this
I
way, a
haven't seen-
mile that way, or
No, it just-
5
it
blocks
has-
this
In the
way,
past-
or
in the past,
in our
I don't
community.
think so.
In the past, when we've looked at it, we have not seen any example of what has been considered saturation in a neighborhood. So I know, as far as the town of Poughkeepsie, we're not anywhere near that. I don't know if other municipalities, other communities have had cases where they have saturation in a neighborhood and have successfully said, we're not going to allow this house, but in the town of Poughkeepsie, we've never been even close to that, because the most we have is one on a street and, you know, nothing on
Okay.
adjacent streets, really, so.
Okay.
It's a good question, though, and.
Well, it's a good question, and I'm not
neighborhood's
getting
not
I'm
defined.
not getting a direct answer, but I kind of
I don't
appreciate,
think there's a
I do
direct-
appreciate what you're saying, you're giving me, and we can leave it at that, because I'm not getting an answer, and I don't want to dwell on one little
Okay.
certain thing, because I tend to think that there probably is not saturation. But I did want to know, and apparently we haven't got exact figures on that from Horizon or the town.
Well, I can tell you how many homes New Horizon
I
has in
don't
the
need to know
town.
that. I already know that, because
Okay.
you and I have talked previously,
Yep.
and you did
Okay.
let me know. So
right.
you know, I don't want to use up all the time.
No problem.
We all have to go home one of these hours. Okay. So we have a number of homes, the general choosing a home. Now, I guess this is, no, I think, I know this, the subject has been brought up, but let me ask it just to make sure I understood everything that was said here. A particular home that we're talking about, the residents of that home are going to be living on one floor or have their rooms, their bedrooms, or what have you on one floor?
Primarily, yes. Primarily, four or
Primarily.
five, there's 5 people, so 1 bedroom upstairs, 4 bedrooms downstairs.
So that means there will be one person upstairs?
Correct.
And I guess we're talking 5 people there, 4 people downstairs?
4 people.
All right, thank you, okay. And also, repeating myself here, you have looked at many other homes in our community, if I can say that. And of course, I'm not quite sure what that means in our community, because we're not quite sure what we're, how much of that area that we're talking about here. My question is, of all these homes that you've looked at, and you're saying there was quite a few of them?
Mm-hmm.
Why this particular home versus these many? I thought I heard quite a large figure that you have looked at. Why did you pick this one of all the other homes, in your area? Why is this apparently the number 1 home that you've picked?
Suitability for the people that are going to be living there, ability to, if there are renovations, ability to make renovations as necessary within what we can afford.
If I could just.
So.
I have the list of the vacant houses in the town of Poughkeepsie. Before you guys leave from New Horizons, if I could give it to you, whether it's for this one or in the future.
I'm sorry,
I have the list of the currently vacant houses in the town of Poughkeepsie. And again, whether it's for this location or in the future, if this gives you a whole bunch of houses where we could use some help here in the town of Poughkeepsie on them. The list changes over time, but I definitely like to give it to you either way. I had mentioned it last time. I mentioned it
Are you
again.
talking to me or to Horizon?
Only if you work at New Horizons. I'm talking to
Yes.
the folks from New
Yes, yes,
Horizons.
yes.
I can give you the list too, Mr. Driscoll, if you'd really like.
Larry's the name.
Larry. But it's just, we have houses in the town that we'd like to see people invest in. So again, in the future, and next time somebody comes in, you'll pick one from the list, and they'll blame me that you chose one off the list that I gave you. But so it sort of is what it is. But
the pay's good.
I think that it would be. I think it would be a good thing if you took it.
I would appreciate to have that list too, for whatever reason. Right now, I have to make a lot of quick decisions, talking in front of everybody, and I'll probably make a few mistakes.
Larry, you're doing fine.
Thank you, Bill, the Irishman. Okay, number 2 page. I did hear correctly that this is going away from the tax rolls.
Yes.
So I hope the board appreciates the fact that that this is we're losing a few dollars here. I guess a few compared to Todd, the comment you made of how much budget we have in the town.
Obviously we don't want to lose any.
Apparently, it's not all that important in me pressing or saying that.
I don't know what you mean by that.
We are losing tax.
I understand
tax
that,
money.
yeah. And let them elaborate.
I just hope
What do
my
you mean?
taxes don't go up because, in a very subtle way, because of this home being purchased.
Okay.
And so forth. But, because the money is coming from the state.
Right.
So it's difficult to pinpoint, if I'm giving any money to them, which I probably am.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're off the tax roll. I hope everybody appreciates that
Mr. Driscoll,
on the
if I-
board here.
Mr. Driscoll, if I could just bring a few points that may not
Yes,
have been
Michael.
mentioned. From my experience dealing with the homes that they've purchased and put in the neighborhoods, you would never know this home was not a residential family home from any other home on your street. They're going to maintain it. They have a lawn maintenance company that comes and takes care of everything. Your values of your home are not going to be lost. That's what I will tell you. All right, so
Well, I'm not even looking at that angle
well, I
of
just
it,
wanted to
but,
throw that out there because I
that-
didn't want you to think that, sometimes you can't control who your neighbors are, but at least here you kind of have an idea of who's coming in next to you. You know, we've had other property owners that wouldn't cut their grass, and we've had to make law to have them cut their grass. So, I mean, in all honesty, this may not be the best fit for you right now, but if you look down a couple years from now, you're not going to know they're there, and the property's going to be maintained and meticulous at all times. So you'll never have to worry about if the shingle falls off, if they're going to fix it, because it's going to be fixed. If that makes you feel any better.
No, it doesn't make me feel better, Michael. I have heard a number of times that these homes are very well kept, and exactly what you're saying. But that's not the reason why I'm here saying that I would appreciate not to have this home right next to
Well,
right across the street from me.
We're
so forth.
We're concerned about the tax base all the time, and we look to try to figure out how to get good quality development that increases the tax base.
Yes,
grows the tax base. And the thing is, with these homes, whether it's on the tax rolls or off the tax rolls, that doesn't factor into any of the decision-making process here, because New York State basically says they're looking at whether there's an oversaturation. The tax impact, yeah, we have it. That's why I had suggested some of these vacant homes, some of these.
Excellent,
homes
an
that-
excellent
that
thought,
banks
too.
aren't-
I
that
appreciate
Banks
that.
aren't taking care of. That would be a better fit, because those are either not on the tax rolls or just barely hanging on at this point, so. But that piece of it, while we're concerned about the tax base.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't factor in the decision-making of whether this group home will go in your neighborhood, my neighborhood,
Well,
or
it doesn't
somewhere
to you,
else.
but it does to me.
No,
It does to me,
Okay.
because I can appreciate that somewhere, somehow, the state and the commu, or not, probably whoever has to make up for the loss of, if I can, call the taxes. Somebody's got to do it, and it's us in New York State. And that's the only point I'm making. I realize it's not a factor, a strong factor, but it is a factor. It is one little teeny point of all the things piled together on top of what I'm talking about. Okay. Andrea, I'm sorry if I keep forgetting your name, dear. So we're going to have 5. We're not having 5 adults. I thought that I understood that we're adults, but they're not adults.
Well, they're young adults. They're
I'm
20,
sorry?
they're young adults. They're 21.
They're young.
Young
Oh, they're
adults.
young adults.
Young adults, 21, 20,
Young-
21 to
young
25.
adults. Okay. So we have 3 during the day, 2 during the night, supervisors, if I can call them supervisors, whatever the word we want to use here.
Direct support staff.
And let me ask you, is there going to be a cook also there, cooking for these young people? Or young adults?
There's not a particular cook. That's one of the staff that work there cook with with.
Okay, so one of the staffs or supervisors that we're having there will not necessarily be supervising while they're actually cooking the meals for the people in the home. That's my point.
Oh, no, they will be, because the way, just like a home,
Okay, they're
just
gonna
like a
keep one
home,
eye cooking
just
and
like,
one eye looking at
well,
them.
no, just like a home with with
I
young
have a
children, they'll
5-year-old
be
and a
helping them.
3-year-old, and I cooked Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
and my kids
All
were.
right, I think we've all done
That part of it is what it is.
You have a 5, you have what, 2 children?
I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
A 5 and a 3-year-old, and they're perfectly normal in every sort of way, too. Their stability is okay. These are not, we're not talking about that type of people in the home that across the street at 17.
Well, by the
Myron
grace of
Drive.
God, as I like to say.
We're not talking about normal people in a
you know,
normal.
they're
I'm not
gone.
talking
The
about a normal
predictability of a
situation.
5-year-old and 3-year-old is
I've been there, Stefan, so I understand exactly what
Mr.
you're saying.
Driscoll, can you, Larry, I think there may be, I just want to try to move it along. If you have other questions, I'm sure there's others in the audience that would like to ask them.
Yes, I do. I would like to point out that to the council in general here, that the traffic that is going to be involved here, I have to believe that on occasions there will be medical appointments. There'll be these people in the home will be going to social events. They'll be going to shopping events. There might be family coming to visit them.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. There'll be, there's food shopping that needs to go out. I'm not quite sure who's going to, if one of these one of the people that are supervisors have to leave. That means one less that'll be watching or looking over the people in the home. There will be, I assume there will be supervisors coming, maybe to supervise the supervisor to see what's going, and making sure everything is copacetic. The holiday events, there will be friends and relatives that will probably come, picking up the children, or I'm assuming that some of these people may have family that want to pick them up and take them home. And last but not least, there might be some medical emergency transportation going on. Limited. My point in all of these words is that there's going to be a pickup of transportation in our community on this. I know that's not impressing everybody, but it certainly impresses me, who lives right across the street. All right, and Todd, I'm going to talk as quick as I can.
All right, no problem.
Okay. I want to point out to everybody here, and you give me a nice smile over there. I think you might be on my side a little bit, hopefully. I want to point out that if you stand in front of this house on the road, you can look up the street and you will see the school. My point is that they're going to be very close to a school of children. Mm-hmm. And that makes me a little bit uncomfortable of the situation of these people that are living there. In the early morning, and I'm saying 7 o'clock in the morning, there are young school children walking past that particular home. And it's almost just beginning to be light, because I get up early in the morning and I can see them. And I get up religiously early. Well, most of the time religiously, I get up early in the morning. There's children that are cutting through the street in back of them, through the backyards. We have 2 school buses in the morning that go by this house and literally will stop in front of this particular home. Also in the evening, there's 2 school buses that leave the children off. I have seen personally young children get off that bus that are gotta be 5 or 6 years old without parents there to pick them up, and they would walk up the side street Manor Way. I see a young lady who literally almost 3 times a week trots by that home and back, and sometimes both ways. A young woman. Everybody's younger than me. Anyway, I'm trying to point out to the board that this particular home is close to so many people that are going by, especially young people. And it just makes it a little bit uncomfortable to see this happening, that this type of home will be in our community.
Mr. Driscoll, I think Ann was pretty clear in the screening process that no one is violent in the house.
Michael, the dog that never bit. You turn on the news every single night and you will hear the comment, "This never happened in our community before."
That could happen with anybody in any given house, any given neighborhood, any given day.
My point here is that this could happen.
We don't want to compare a human being to an animal, though.
Probably
These are also people that are from our community, living in our community.
I'm sorry?
These are also people from our community, living in our community, that need a little help.
Agreed. I'm not going to argue with you, Michael. And we tend to be, I can see you're tending that you want to disagree with me and in a very direct way.
Because he didn't smile
I'm not
at
here
you.
for that. I'm not here for that.
I'm not
Let me express my
I'm
points to
pointing
you.
out- just pointing out
Let me
that-
express myself to you, and we'll have to leave it at that.
You're not going to win.
Okay, I'm just about done, Todd.
Okay, Larry.
Hang in there.
All right, I'm hanging.
Okay, I'm on the last page.
All right.
Okay. I want the board to appreciate the reason why I'm against having this home, with all due respect, in our residence. I mean, if it was a house of faith, or it was an ambulance, or a local substation for the police, or what have you, I would still be against it. This community that we live in on Myron Drive, between the hours after the school picks up the children until they leave them there, you could hear a pin drop. This is the serenity that we really, that I really enjoy in the community, and many of us there do too. And this is certainly going to be disrupted because of what's going on, to a degree. It's not going to go crazy. I don't expect it's going crazy or anything like that. But you're going to break that serenity up.
Hey, Ann?
Unfortunately.
I don't know that.
Unfortunately for
I know
me.
you have a very nice, I know the area you live. I agree, it's a great neighborhood.
It's the best neighborhood in the area.
I think my neighborhood's the best neighborhood in the area.
No way. You're Irish, you don't know.
Could
Your
you give,
face is getting red.
Could you give Mr. Driscoll
That's the Irish.
some addresses of where the rest of the houses are, and maybe he can go visit some of the neighbors there? Because I know they probably had the same exact concerns. Maybe you could do a home visit to one of the other homes that are up and
That
running.
would be good, Michael.
And
We're
if you
getting
could
back
set
on the
it-
right track
If you could
now,
set him
you and
up with
I.
that, I guarantee you'll be a lot happier than you are right now.
I'm sorry, say that
I
again.
guarantee you'll be a lot happier than you are right now, because you'll have some answers. And you'll see the impacts, the traffic impacts. You'll be able to ask neighbors where the houses are.
Oh, that would be helpful. That would certainly be helpful. But I like Stefan's point, where he's given us a list of homes that are available.
I agree with Stefan
too.
on that as
So
well.
that's two good things coming out of
some may be in
coming
the
out of this conversation, and so forth. All right, my last statement.
No, come on, Larry.
All right, wait a minute. I got some more. I got
That's a
some more
long
sheets
3
over
minutes.
here.
Really long 3 minutes.
Stefan, you're not timing me. The first time I called Stefan 3, 4, or 5 days
He's
ago,
used to timing
he
you when he
told me
talks on the
exactly
phone.
how long I was talking to him. I said, oh my God, this guy's counting the minutes that I'm talking to him. And he
3
naturally
hours,
talked.
45 minutes, and
can't
22
break.
He
seconds.
talked a lot more than I did.
No, come
He
on.
did. And I had to shut him up. And I know he's a lawyer. I said, you've got to let me speak, Stefan. My God, you think he was running for president in the next
He
2
may.
years? Or supervisor. Okay, here it is. Here it is, people of the council. I'm asking the council to not approve this proposal at 16 Myron Drive for all the reasons that I have just said. And I would appreciate that you would strongly consider that we do look at other homes and to you, Horizon, too. Now, I don't want to put you on, well, I will put you a little bit on the spot here. You know, is it available for you to look at other homes, or have you made your decision that this is going to be it? And I'm sorry, we really can't spend our time looking for anything else.
Well, we've looked at many homes, and we've identified this as being the home that is the best home for us at this time.
I'm not a lawyer, but I know you didn't answer my
I know
question.
Larry?
I think she basically
I think
saying they've chosen this home for the criteria which they've had, whether it's, and I think they probably use the same criteria I would, convenience to shopping or to recreation. The probably 4 bedrooms on 1 floor. I don't know. I mean, I doubt their criteria is much different than the criteria we would use, but
I'm out of luck.
Larry, I had one in my neighborhood a few years ago. It went through, but there's a 45-day window, if I'm correct, that you can find another house. We didn't go look, but we had a real estate agent that lived in the neighborhood. She went, found as many houses as she could possibly find. She contacted them. I don't think it was New Horizons at the time. And they went out and looked. It didn't change their view, but that 45-day window stops. If they go out and find another house on the 39th day, that neighborhood only has 6 days to find another house. But they went out and they looked. The woman sent me every email to every house that she sent. She sent about 35 or 40 houses, went with them to some of the houses. Didn't change their final decision, but they did go and look. The house is off Jackson Road. I haven't heard any complaints as of now on that house. I have one in my neighborhood now on Sheaf Road, which the guy is very well known. He sits out front and he waves to everybody. I have children, I own a business down there that they all come in, they all shop there. And as you said, something can always go wrong. They've been coming there, I've been there 30 years, the house has been there probably 25 years. I've had no issue with their clients coming in. The staff brings them in, they shop, they go back. I'm a fireman down there, an EMT for years. Very few calls at that house. The house, I think, run by the ARC. And it's not disruptive to the neighborhood, even though it is on Sheaf Road, which is a little busier than Myron Drive, that's for sure. But we also have one on De La Verne, which is a severely handicapped home, which I've seen hardly no calls there either. But that's a bigger stone structure down there. And the one they put in off Jackson Road, I don't know much about, but I really haven't seen many complaints there. But as Todd has stated, the state locks us in so tight that we didn't have much of a choice. But we contacted the company at that time. I don't think it was New Horizons, and we worked with them. And they did go and look, and it didn't change at the end. But they looked, and we helped them look. Like Stefan's got the list. If they take it, it's a small window, but it's worth looking at. I mean, they may find something. They may miss something. They only have so many days to do it, but it's worth a look to see what you can do, because I've never had an issue with them. I've raised my kids, I've worked for my business from 12, 13 up, never had an issue with them. The one guy comes in my business, all the neighbors know him. It's just like family. As you said, the traffic down there is not a lot. They go out to school during the day. Some of them work at Goodwill, some work at the Salvation Army. They come back. And these guys, the guys that we have are probably all in their 50s or 60s, and the majority of them have been there at least 15 years. And all the years that I've had the staff changes every year or 2 years, but I've never even had an issue with any of the staff down there at all.
And the one on Sheaf Road, when you drive by anyways, it actually kind of brightens your day. He's a nice guy. He's been there.
I'm feeling surrounded here. I feel like I'm being attacked.
No, Larry, I'm
I'm not going to win. I sense that this is a losing battle on my end. So thank you, everybody, for listening.
It's also,
Thank you, Larry.
as far as them changing their mind, they've gone through an extensive process and vetted out this house. So when they get to us, they've done a lot of legwork to get to this point. They don't come at the starting point and say, we think we might be interested in that house, we're going to disrupt your neighborhood and let everybody know that we're looking at it. They go through an extensive process. They narrow it down. They make their selection based on all their criteria. So when they get here, it's been through a lot of time and effort. So that's where when you go out and show them other properties, they've looked around already. So we're generally not showing them anything different that they haven't already seen.
I just hope in a couple of years I don't come back here and said I told you so.
I hope not.
And so forth.
Everybody. No, I don't think you will, because one of my friends actually lives next door to the house on Round Hill. Yeah. And they say they are the best, the most quiet neighbors. They said the only time they see them is when they walk from the front door into the van, or from the van back into the front door. And they're very happy.
And the only point I have to that, Ann, is that looking at the other side of the coin, we've got 5 people that I guess of all this quietness that I'm being told and no trouble that's going to occur, that you've got 5 people living in a home. And my goodness, my understanding is that if they want to go for a walk down up Manor Way or down Myron Drive, they will be escorted with a supervisor and so forth. These people are really being confined dramatically, and especially young people that I'm being told that are going to be there now. And I got to appreciate that point.
Okay.
They're really. I mean, there's not much of a backyard to that particular home, which surprises me that it was picked rather than maybe, as Stefan pointed out, a number of homes in the area that would have a larger area that these people could at least go to the backyard and have a little space to walk around. I mean, God, if you fall over in the backyard, you're in somebody else's property, just about. I'm exaggerating, but just about. It's not a typical backyard of our community. And because of that, I have a certain feeling. So, oh my goodness, here's a stress factor that we're not going to talk about. We've never had any experiences about it, but it's like the dog that never bit and the ladder that never broke. I'm done. I'm done, Todd.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Larry. No problem. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Mrs. Steinversel, come on up. How are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
Good.
I appreciate the opportunity to make a few comments.
Sure.
To address what Larry just
Mrs.
said.
Steinversel, could you pull that microphone a little? There you go.
To address what Larry just said about the backyard. It's a very small backyard with a creek at the end. So if you fall over in the yard, you don't fall into your neighbor's yard, you fall into the creek, which, not a good scenario. The driveway to that house is very steep. I don't know if you're aware that the owners generally do not park down their driveway nor in their garage. They generally park in front of the house on their circular paved area. That driveway needs to be cleared of snow immediately because it freezes over. According to Article 10 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Building Code, please correct me if I'm incorrect, whether a building conforms to the code, it may be enlarged up to 25%, making it possible to apply for a special permit to increase the number of permissible residents.
Nope.
No?
The town code doesn't allow more than 5 unrelated people to reside in a single-family house.
Yeah, but
But
state
the
law has,
State law allows more than that in the residence?
I believe state law is written in such a way so that they recognize this as a cohesive family unit.
Really?
Yeah.
Then,
Andrew, are there any intention of New Horizons to put an addition on this house, do you
We're
know?
not expanding the house, no.
Not today.
No,
Have
we're
you
not
expanded
we're not
any-
expanding the
I
house.
think what they'd be subject to with this house would be setbacks, side yard setbacks,
variances that would.
front and rear yard setbacks. So I know the area. I don't think there's a lot of room to expand any of those directions because you're gonna infringe upon the setbacks,
They
end
wouldn't-
up before the
okay.
zoning board, which you'll be notified, all the residents will be notified they wanted to do that, and it'd be a public hearing.
But you could enlarge the home vertically.
It's 2 stories now, right?
Right, but the bedrooms are in the front. There is still a back area over the porch. What are the qualifications of the staff who will be caring for the residents?
The staff, anybody who works has to have experience working with individuals that have these individuals minimum. These people that have to have a high school diploma, however, many of our staff have beyond that associate degrees, and we as an organization continue to support people to get increased education above and beyond associate degrees. So does that answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Do they have experience and training in caring for people with disabilities?
Yes.
They do. And what types of background checks do you do?
There's a multitude of background checks that we're required to do for criminal background checks and a whole series. I can provide Todd with details on that. It's very extensive, whether it's on the federal level, whether it's looking at history of working with other organizations like New Horizons, criminal background checks, the gamut.
I would like to know about those checks.
Yes, certainly.
I would appreciate that. We know that these residences are tax exempt.
Yeah.
This is extremely important to most of us who are in Spackenkill, who each time there is a budget to be passed, have a tax increase, a school budget in particular. And since 1999, the average family income has declined $5,000. An increase in taxes because of yet another building that is off the tax rolls is a burden to most families in the area. When IBM was in its heyday, people were very comfortable, very happy, very interested in the school district, and not at all concerned about paying a few extra dollars each time a budget came up. People are very concerned now. And I think that's a consideration when you take yet another building off the tax rolls. We have lost the
I
IBM
agree with everything you
Homestead.
said.
We have lost the IBM Country Club property. Those are enormous property. And every house we lose impacts on
I agree with everything
every
you said, Mrs.
family.
Steinbrussel, and, you know, I know I pay those Spagnville school taxes.
I know you do.
But really, I'd love if New Horizons, you know, if the home stayed on the tax rolls, but really that's a fight to be taken up by our state representatives, because that's a state issue and, you know, state law determines that these homes come off the tax rolls, but I agree with everything you just said.
Well, I think then that either there have to be new guidelines in our town,
Not town, it's state.
and the town has to address the issues with the state. I mean, somebody has to do something because we are drowning. So I appreciate the time and I thank you for your
being here.
indulgence.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. This is
Hi.
my first time ever addressed to the town board.
Welcome.
I've been here 40-some years.
Yeah.
I'm in Myron Drive. What I want to say is that I agree with Larry, my neighbor, more than 100% what he's concerned and all different issues he addressed. Now, I just want to make clear that I understand as far as the legal matter concerned, right, and have all the legals on his part or whatnot to pick whatever property they decide to be in the town of Poughkeepsie. And if I remember correctly, what you said, you have no legal challenge as far as density, any other phase. Now, to me, that doesn't seem to be a reasonable thing to do. Okay, the state laws, they allow them to be into the community. Of course, every community have their own different kind of criteria. As far as in this particular situation, the suitability issue is 100% out of whack, so to say. There's so many property, like this gentleman here, Stephen, if I may call you. A lot of property that should be looked at again, see, they can make a proposal to us, instead they say, this is the one I want. As far as property concerned, and things probably a different price, different way they have to modify for the operations. So I think that should be go over there again to see we as a town, the resident, that we should address the issue, or maybe we can challenge it in the in state court, or whatever is necessary to see that is what they done theory, and this is what they think is most suitable for the use. Now, many issues that go over, as Larry pointed out, we are concerned with that. I'm sure the people, moving in is not really a harmful or anything to the community as a whole. But then it's other choice that we can have a little more as far as benefit to pick other property as the one that's vacant and the one is, is not being occupied, that will improve the overall appearance for our community as well. So I will respectfully, see you folks can look into that, or we have complete no recourse for our hand is say this is it, and whatever they want to do, any community that don't have any way to see they did a really thorough job to pick the right property for their operation. Now that whatever the objections and so on, I think I agree with Larry 100%.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Anybody else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'll have to give you my name and
No, actually, you don't.
My ID.
No?
I just have a few questions, okay?
Sure, yeah.
One, what is the price of the house? Or is that not relevant?
I don't know what it is.
Wasn't it listed for 280 or 260? I think someone had told me that.
Because I'd like to know
I
if
have
this
no
is,
idea.
you know, the house and the house just next door to it, I think, just sold. I got a letter from a real estate agent
Yeah.
saying that number 15 had just sold. Wonderful, you know.
Yeah.
Did they sell because they knew ahead of time that something was happening, or was it just coincidence?
If they knew, I don't know if they knew or not, if they spoke to the owner. I think New Horizons I think you've told us in the past, you use a realtor, you look at multiple listings and,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I don't know do you know what the price of this home was? I mean, we
I think
could
it was,
find out.
I wanted, yeah, I'm thinking about 340. I think about 340. I'm not, maybe
We could
349.
find out for sure. I don't know off the top of my head.
Pretty large
I-
house. It's 88 square feet, so it's pretty big. I can imagine it would be about that price range.
Pardon?
I said it's a pretty big home, has 88 square feet, so it could probably,
2,800 square feet?
88, that's what I looked up today online.
No, mine is bigger than that. Okay, I'll
saying.
sell my house. I got 6 bedrooms, you know, tell them. But number 2, what is your average salary for your employees there?
The average,
What kind of salary are you paying the people that are going to work
look at
there?
the salary, also looking at the full package, so we're paying, average salary, I would say about $15 or $16 an hour for direct, but in addition, healthcare benefits almost completely. I think for the first time, people pay a small amount towards that for family health insurance. So that if you look at that as a benefit package, our employees are doing very well. Many of our employees have been with us in terms of the type of services that we provide. We have employees that have been with us for 10, 15, 20, 25 years.
That doesn't answer the question. The reason I asked that question, I have experience, with my family with dealing with these kinds of operations, and to find that if the salaries aren't good, you get what you pay for. Okay? And in most cases, if something's missing, it's the staff that does it, not one of the residents. That's my experience.
The house is listed
Okay.
at 360.
Another point,
The house is listed at 360.
pardon?
The house is listed for sale at 360. I don't know what they're paying for it, but.
Okay. 2 other things, I guess. One is, it probably doesn't affect you. How many people are going to be maximum in the house at a time?
There are 5 people that live there. There are 3 staff. That would be 8 people. There could be as many as 10 people at one time.
That's an issue of, density too, okay? The houses in our neighborhood, if you're lucky, you have 6 people in them maybe. And that includes a mother, father, and, 4 children. This exceeds that kind of density, okay, significantly. Last point, maybe. I have never been in the back of that house, but I assume it has a very small apron back there. How many vehicles are you going to have parked there during the day or even in the evening, maximum?
Again, with the side parking area, and there should be generally 3 to 4 vehicles.
I'm not sure whether there's enough room in the back for 3 or 4 vehicles. I'm saying you have a garage, you have to, I assume you have a garage and you'll use it maybe.
Yeah, there's a 2-car garage.
And you're going to have a van, right?
And we'll have
Is it going to be there permanently?
Though typically the van will be there permanently when the people are home. Otherwise, the van will be out,
Will it be visible from the street?
It could be.
Do you have any writing on the van? Does it?
No, and it's a
any-
mini, and we use Odysseys, or Siennas, we use
Passenger
passenger
type
vans, passenger vans, not,
Okay.
Okay, what kind of turnover do you have in your residence?
staff turnover, very
I mean,
limited.
how often do you have to bring in a new resident typically?
Are you talking about people that live there?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the
people that live there, very, very rare. The people that live there, it's their home.
Do they age out?
They can stay there as long as,
They either stay
stay
there
there
till death or
till
until
death,
they're
till-
not able to.
I'm saying they're typically, you said 18, 21, or 21. How long could they stay maximum? Is there a limit?
no,
Then they're not young adults any longer, okay? Then they become adults. Okay, and there's a different situation there. This is a locked facility?
it's a home that would be, it's a home. It's an unlocked facility, it's not a confined facility.
Well, can they go out on their own at whenever they want to?
No, there'd be nobody that lives at that house that would go out of the house without staff,
Without staff?
without staff.
Okay, so they could, so you don't have that much control over them once they're out of the house?
Well, they won't go out without staff, she said, generally
No,
speaking.
she said they
They
can
would
go
not
out
go, no,
without
no, I
staff.
said they cannot go
Without.
without staff. They would have staff with them, accompany them.
They always do, okay.
Correct.
Generally.
Well, like I say, it wasn't clear.
Yeah, no.
No,
Good-
I can
good
say,
question.
unfortunately, I've been through a lot of this, okay, and know the shortcomings. I tell you, take my daughter, she's, right now, we're having difficulty because she's in Beacon, and it's a difficult situation, okay? And I don't know whether we want her 2 doors away or not, but, we're interested in making sure that there are places for people like that with mental health. This is not considered mental health. I'm sorry, this is developmental. That means essentially Down syndrome, learning, disabilities. I guess that, I know nothing's going to change, but want to feel comfortable that a lot of these.
And if you have any questions throughout the week, call us, we'll get answers for you.
Okay,
Thank you for being here. Anybody else? Anything else from the town board? All right, thank you very much for the information. All right, moving on to item number 3. Bill, I think you're up.
Item number 3. Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie is party to a contract dated June 19, 2006, with the Friends of Peach Hill Limited, a New York non-for-profit corporation hereinafter called Friends, pursuant to which Friends has provided valuable volunteer service to the town by providing maintenance services at Peach Hill Park site, and whereas Friends has procured equipment which it uses in connection with the volunteer maintenance activity, including a brush mower, a lawn mower, a riding garden tractor, and other tools and equipment, and whereas Friends has offered to procure and site a 10-foot by 16-foot shed similar to Exhibit A, and to spread crushed stone on the path leading to it so as to provide a convenient storage for the equipment at Peach Hill Park, and whereas Scenic Hudson, which holds a conservation easement on the Peach Hill Park, has advised the Friends that it has no objection to the placement of the shed, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to enter into an amendment to the June 19, 2006 agreement with Friends to add a new paragraph, 3A. The town licenses Peach Hill Friends to erect and maintain a 10-foot by 16-foot equipment shed off the north edge of the park picnic area, which license may be revoked by either party on 6 months' notice. And be it further resolved that the installation of this shed is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, because it is a non-residential structure of less than 1,000 square feet. And be it further resolved that the town board notes its sincere appreciation for the significant volunteer work of the Friends of Peach Hill Limited. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion?
Yeah, this sounds like a wonderful Eagle Scout project. So. Oh, I
It's
guess-
a manufactured
not.
shed that,
I think the shed comes in on a truck.
yeah, comes
It
in a
does
truck.
come in on a truck.
But, you know, I would just agree with the last sentence of that resolution. I mean, the Friends of Peach Hill, you know, it's amazing what, you know, the amount of community participation and what the volunteers are able to accomplish up there. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, if you haven't been to Peach Hill, you owe yourself you know, visit, and I don't think you'd be disappointed. So, anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance easement in regard to the project known as All Space Self-Storage. And be it further resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign the stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance agreement and any supporting or recording documents in regard to the All Space Self-Storage project. Be it further resolved that such acceptance and authorization by the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is subject to the approval of all final documents by the Town Attorney, Planning Board Attorney, Town Engineer, and the Director of Municipal Development for the Town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby promote Brian Porter to the position of Senior Automotive Mechanic with the Town of Poughkeepsie Auto Center at an annual salary of $61,584, effective January 1, 2015, which promotion is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per the New York Civil Service Law, effective immediately. And be it further resolved, the Town Supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, Mr. Porter's here, if anybody would like to quiz him on his auto mechanic knowledge.
I just want to say, I know Mr. Galbraith has spoken very highly of you, and there's going to be a transition there, and we're confident that you're going to be able to handle it well, so good luck.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Brian.
Helped good work.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Congratulations.
Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby modify the 2014 budget pursuant to the recommendations of the Comptroller to account for, allocate out monies for the settlement of the CSEA Contract 2014, and be further resolved that the modification is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the Town Board does hereby waive verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if in fact, it had been read verbatim. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has hereby modified the 2014 budget pursuant to the recommendation of the Comptroller to account for allocate out monies for settlement of the PBA contract 2013/14, and be it further resolved that the modifications are attached hereto and incorporated herein. And the Town Board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if they in fact had been read verbatim. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized the supervisor to execute a Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation street lighting authority order for the installation of streetlights on Nassau Road, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Item number 8. Whereas Highway Superintendent Pfeiffer has been asked by the County of Dutchess to execute a contract to participate in the Regional County Highway Snow and Ice Control Program, hereinafter the program, within the boundaries of the town, and whereas the participation in the program, under which the county will supply control materials and reimburse the town for its labor and equipment use, will result in a more prompt, inclement weather response times, thereby enhancing the overall safety of town residents and those who travel through the town, and whereas such participation by the town in the program by removing snow from designated county highways and applying sand, salt, and other treatment to maintain highway safety and accessibility for emergency services is specifically authorized by Article 6, Section 135A of the New York State Highway Law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute an intermunicipal agreement, IMA, with the county for the town's participation in the program. And the Highway Superintendent Pfeiffer is hereby authorized to perform such work and to receive the materials and payments therefore outlined in the annexed IMA during the winter season 2014 to 2015, which IMA may be extended by mutual agreement of the parties for up to an additional 4 years. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? This is gonna cover 3.17 miles of road. The roads that are gonna be taken care of are Cedar Avenue, IBM Road, Main Street, Sand Dock, Taft Avenue, and Van Wagner Road. A portion of each of those.
Does this count for the mandate that we have to be sharing services?
I don't know, it goes along that.
I mean, it looks like shared services.
It definitely goes along that theme of.
In the company of shared services, and it
Yes.
sounds like shared services,
Well,
so I would think
Hopefully it is. That's why
that it's shared service.
And we get reimbursed back at our manpower rate and based on our cost of materials, so, I mean,
Yes.
it should,
Should have been done years
there's
ago.
times where I've complained about what
Yes.
the county does to us, but in this situation, it should make things more efficient.
Yeah.
And it always makes more sense when government works together to solve the problem. Lifting up a plow to
Right.
get through, to get past the road, to get to the other road that's got a
Yeah.
plow, has never made any sense to me. So this
Exactly.
is,
Yeah.
God knows how many years it took to get to this point, but it just seems like a good idea.
I think so,
We're
too.
only tied in for a year in case it's
Yeah.
bad. Yes.
Yep, no, I agree. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Number 9 is notification for legal. Let's see. 10 is a notification for liquor license for Moly Moly. Refer that to legal. Number 11, whereas the town of Poughkeepsie has operated an approved housing assistance program under the standards 24 CFR Part 570, which was funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Renewal, hereafter HUD, and whereas City of Poughkeepsie is currently managing the town of Poughkeepsie's HAP pursuant to a management agreement, and whereas the town of Poughkeepsie refers to transfer its HAP to the City of Poughkeepsie, and the town of Poughkeepsie and the City of Poughkeepsie have resolution agreed to transfer, and whereas the City of Poughkeepsie has requested that the town of Poughkeepsie sign an indemnification agreement identifying the City of Poughkeepsie from claims which may have arisen during the town of Poughkeepsie management of its HAP, whereas the town of Poughkeepsie has notified HUD of its intention to transfer its HAP to the City of Poughkeepsie, and HUD has indicated to the town of Poughkeepsie that it will approve the transfer effective January 1st, 2015. Be it resolved, the supervisor of the town of Poughkeepsie is authorized to execute an indemnification agreement between the town of Poughkeepsie and the city of Poughkeepsie in substantially the same form as annexed hereto, and be it further resolved, the execution of the foregoing agreement, which is part of the ongoing administration of the town involving no changes which will affect the environmental, is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved. Mr. Moore.
Anybody want a second? Second. Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. 1, appointment Elizabeth Frazier, part-time recreation assistant. 2, notification liquor license Capelli's Pizza, and be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the town board of town Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Elizabeth A. Frazier to the position of part-time recreation assistant at a rate of $10 per hour effective January 1st, 2014, which appointment is subject to a probation period of not less than 8, no more than 26 weeks per civil service law. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, I've met Elizabeth, and she is very nice. She's doing a really good job down at the senior center, and she's amazes me. She can remember people's names and signs them in, and she's a really friendly face at the front desk, so it's a good move.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. C2 is a notification of a liquor license for Coco Pelli's Pizza Corp. Brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on town issues.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody like to address the board? Doreen?
Just like to make a comment about the group home or
I thought you might have
the
something to
residential home. You know,
say.
how many times in the last, over 10, 15 years, I've heard people raise concerns, and I understand it's in their neighborhood, but then you seldom hear any of those same people come back to the board and say they have problems. And just like to point out, things I've mentioned before. You don't have any control over who moves into your neighborhood. I mean, we had a young adult on electronic monitoring at one point who moved in a school bus used to stop in front of their house. I mean, in traffic. Have you ever had, we've lived in our street 32 years. Have you ever had a house that had, 4 teenagers in there? A lot of traffic, and you have people, families come and visit. I mean, these are just, normal things. And like I said, you don't get to choose who your neighbors are. And in this case, I know, Todd, you pointed out, if there's an issue, just like anything else, you would call the police, or in this case, you would call, maybe New Horizons also and alert the board. So
I do want to say, though, I think this group of neighbors and residents that came in tonight were much better than some of the groups in the past. They raised concerns and questions and issues. It didn't get nasty, it didn't get ugly, so hopefully people are getting to see these homes out there in the community and realize that they're not a problem. But I think the people had reasonable concerns. They came in and asked questions, and I was just happy to see that it didn't get kind of ugly or nasty as it has a few times in the past.
Let's face it, things change. Our neighborhood used to be much more quiet 32 years ago than it is now. There's development around, the area, and I'm sure a lot of other places have it. So, nothing stays the same. And anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the only other thing I'd like to say is that Tuesday, December 9th, the Arlington Fire District, as well as other fire districts in the county, are having their commissioner elections. And for Arlington, the hours are 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And there's 2 voting locations. You would vote at AFD headquarters, 11 Burnett Boulevard, if you live in wards 3, 4, or 6. You would vote at the Red Oaks Mill Firehouse at 213 Vassar Road if you lived in wards 1, 2, and 5. So again, this is an opportunity for people. We heard the woman say about, her taxes and whatever. Well, if you vote for commissioners, that's one way of ensuring how your tax money is going to be spent. So again, it's a public election, Tuesday, December 9th. For Arlington, it's 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. I believe Fairview is also 5 to 9, but you could check with your firehouses if you're concerned about details. So it's important to vote.
Thank you, Doreen.
Thank you.
Mr. Armstrong?
Commissioner.
I think that one of the things people had in their minds is years ago when the state threw a lot of these people out on the street almost, that they've got this thought in their mind of what kind of people are out there, and that's not the case with these people today. I got one in my neighborhood, I don't even know what the heck house it is.
Right.
And I've been putting flyers out, and I don't even know which one it is. But, having said that, he brought up the subject again with the houses that are out there, that we're taking care of. I just want to put out my feeling about it again. I just think that these banks that own these houses should be taking care of these houses and not the town and fighting to get the money back. And I think that should be changed. And I'll never change my thought on that. The other thing I got, the corner building on Raymond and Main that was shored up there for a long time, and they finally got them to knock it down and so forth.
Yeah.
Is anything being done to clean that mess up and make it look halfway decent, and the fire escapes hanging in the air over there, and there's debris still around? It's still a hazardous corner.
It's
I would like to see that get cleaned up a little bit better.
Yeah, we would
No, there's a design and there's a plan in place, but right now they said it's back in our.
How long's that been?
They're
A
waiting
year,
for the
2
building
years that they've been
department.
fooling with this
Yeah, I
thing?
know, well.
These things shouldn't take that kind of time to get resolved.
I agree.
I understand they got ways of delaying things, but somewhere along the line, I think the hammer's got to come down and say, look, you either fix it or something's got to be done.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to that point.
Fortunately, nobody's really been injured yet, I guess, but.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anybody else? I see one of our county legislators here, Alan Nesbitt.
What?
Come on up, Alan, I know.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
I think all of you know who I am, but I'll
Just
just say.
speak in directly into the
this-
microphone.
is this
That's
good enough?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
I'm Ellen Nesbitt. I represent the 1st District in the county legislature, which is the north end of the town of Poughkeepsie. I just, I wanted to come in here, see what was going on in your meeting. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what we're doing with the budget,
Okay.
which we'll be voting on. We're looking to pass it tomorrow night. A couple, just briefly, I just wanted to go over, there will be no new taxes, no increased spending in the 2015 budget. This is going to be our smallest workforce in 32 years. We are working just to keep things as lean and as efficient as possible. So we will be voting on this tomorrow night, and if any of you guys have any questions or concerns, I know, there are several of you I represent, we have the same constituents. So if you have any questions or concerns, in the meantime, just, give me a call. And, good job. You guys are doing a great job, and I definitely look forward to coming to more of these meetings. And maybe we can, work together on any projects, so.
Great. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Seeing no one, I make a motion to resume rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Jay?
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session and consider the following matters to wit. 1, confidential communication between the attorney and his client, the Town Board based on attorney-client privileges. And be it further resolved, there be no action appropriating money. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Town Board adjourns to executive session at 8:40 PM. Don Beer and Frank Lozani will be joining us.